Howdy, everybody. Thank you to MediaPost for creating a fun event. You guys keep fun front and center in this agenda. I know when we all got into advertising, we chose this amongst thousands of different careers we could go down. When we got into advertising, I would like to think because we all wanted a dose of fun in our day-to-day. So thank you, MediaPost, for keeping fun front and center on the agenda. Public service announcement on the golf course yesterday. This ended up in my bag. It's a New England Patriots driver head cover. Yeah, here we go. Look at this. All you, buddy. I got it. Obviously, we're in paid sponsorship time, right? So there's gonna be a little bit about DIRECTV here. Nice for the intro. Appreciate that. But obviously, I want to build on some of the themes that I've been hearing at this conference this week. How to improve reach and frequency distribution in a fragmented marketplace, how to use data and technology and insights to improve performance and ultimately make advertising better for our customers and consumers. And maybe, just maybe little old me here will have some insights or maybe an analogy that makes you look at the landscape just a little differently than you did maybe 5 minutes ago. So what if I told you guys that the biggest opportunity in video right now is actually in traditional TV, specifically cable? And no, it's not 1994, it's 2024. So this slide might look familiar. David Morgan, I'm looking for you in the crowd. But it's okay, I think we're still building optimal frequency against this narrative, so we're not at overexposure level yet. But the trade headlines have been, ringing. Streaming is overtaking broadcast and cable in terms of time spent. Obviously, that's true. Streaming is here to stay. It's only going to get bigger. It's a big part of our future at DIRECTV as well. But and today we have more ways to watch whatever we want, whenever we want it, however we want it. So much so that I would actually say maybe look at yourself in the mirror and tell me if you're wrong. But it's actually the challenging part is actually remembering where to watch the thing you want to watch at that moment. Because there's so many different ways to go about it. But what's actually happening, if you look under the hood a little bit more, as David Morgan illustrated, so I'm going to be a little brief with this, but that streaming frontier gets a lot of the attention. Deservedly so. It's a crazy space. It's ever changing. It's ever growing. It's exciting. It captures our attention, but and it gets a lot of attention from the marketing space for that next incremental reach point. But the challenge is that streaming represents maybe 40%-ish of time spent viewing, but if you look at that from an ad-supported perspective, it's only representing about 17%. According to our statisticians, I think David had it slightly lower, so let's split the difference and call it 15 maybe. Which means that for the time being, traditional TV, cable broadcast, which includes the traditional cable networks, broadcast networks, distributors such as myself. I'll explain a little bit more about what we do in a minute, but such as Dish Network, Sling, YouTube TV. Not talking about YouTube proper, but YouTube TV, the pay TV service, ampersand. This all represents the biggest slice of the pie from a time spent viewing perspective that you can actually engage right now. And within that environment, there's still a lot of room to drive further efficiency. Specifically, my argument being that addressable TV technology is here to drive a lot more efficiency in a space that traditionally we've looked at as, oh, set and forget, we got that covered. Okay, so again, this is a sponsored speaking section. Allow me to get a little bit into about DIRECTV. Yeah, we are a TV distributor via satellite and internet. We represent about 15% of TV distribution across the country. We're in all 50 states, 210 DMAs. About 3/4 of our distribution is via satellite. About 1/4 is through internet. You can literally plug in a set-top box of ours into the internet and stream it directly, or you can bring your own device, such as Apple TV, Roku, download the app, pay for it that way. But for our consumers who are paying a premium for our services, we're about $85 a month. Imagine if Netflix suddenly was $85 a month, right? But for our consumers, this is their home base for video. This is where they go. We have they might watch a show or two on Netflix or Amazon Prime, but this is where they spend the bulk of their time every day, in and out. They watch live TV, they watch it on the big screen, and they watch it often. A big differentiator for us in the marketplace is that we've really been trying to be synonymous with live sports. We have the most regional sports networks in the marketplace. That's a key part of our value prop. So, DIRECTV is also synonymous with addressable TV. So we invented addressable TV about 12 years ago. Let me explain a little bit. So as a provider, we have about 2 minutes an hour, every hour, across every cable network that we distribute. That's a lot of inventory, right? And we can plug that in, whether it's live or time-shifted, VOD, et cetera. Again, most of our viewership happens live. But the addressable technology is underpinned by billing relationships, not IP addresses, not cookies, but actual billing relationships, which means that you can light up whatever specific households you want in our footprint. And then you can leverage the magical powers of dynamic ad insertion and frequency controls to seek and find audiences however, whenever they're watching TV, right? So from a targeting perspective, whether clients are using first-party data, plugging into third-party data sets, using our first-party data, which I'll actually get into in a minute, we can find your audience however, whenever they're watching, right? We can close the loop through attribution studies, measure across the full slate of the funnel. So contrast this to traditional TV. You buy a spot. You hope the audience tunes in at the moment that you bought the spot. You hope that the audience is turning over at the right frequency. You hope that you're building reach. You hope that you're not stacking frequency. Again, with us, you have frequency controls. You're going to find this audience however and whenever they're watching it and deliver it within your campaign. So, from a historical perspective, the primary use case of addressable has always been precision targeting, right? So think, let's target those guys that are in the market for a car, or let's target, those parents that just had a baby, because why talk to someone, why sell diapers to someone who doesn't have a baby, right? Or to those, who said the pet parents, not pet owners. I got to change my speaking of that. But maybe talk to those pet parents who have a dog in the house versus those families that don't, right? So meaning that the precision has been the use case for addressable, meaning let's eliminate waste and let's go after the specific target audience and drive efficiencies through that. But we've also heard from a lot of heavy TV spenders, the argument, well, we want to talk to everybody with a mouth, right? Or we want that spillage, and we want to just build broad-based reach and awareness. And I get it. That's part of the power of live TV. But this has actually been the biggest growth area for addressable, using addressable technology to build reach and manage frequency in a landscape that was largely void of that technology. So meaning, building broad-based demo reach, but using addressable TV technology. So let me help explain. And let me also elaborate that about 85% of the TV marketplace is addressably enabled. We represent a fraction of that. So I'm kind of here evangelizing the overall addressable TV ecosystem. What's nice about that is that unless someone is really into satellites, they're not going to have a dish and a DIRECTV subscription, right? You're gonna stack that. You're gonna have so you can have unduplicated reach. You can build that very easily, seamlessly. So here's where the magic happens, and this is where the insights start driving outcomes. So we are a TV distributor. We have set-top box data. We can look at every single campaign that runs through our system and understand exposure levels that are happening at the campaign level. We've ran literally thousands of these campaigns. Advertisers like to see their specific schedule, and I totally understand. But there's been a key trend that's been happening from every single analysis that's being done. We wanted to figure out what's happening with traditional linear, that since they don't have dynamic ad insertion, since there's no frequency controls, we want to understand what's happening with exposure levels. And every single case, the story remains the same. And it builds this exposure chart like this. And what this means is that about 75 to 80% of a TV investment gets piled up at about 25% of a given demo. And that's because traditional linear does not have frequency controls. So meaning heavy viewers are absorbing disproportionately the investment. They're drinking your milkshake, so to speak, from There Will Be Blood. And furthermore, what's meaning is that you're getting a broad, a vast majority of the demo that's being underexposed or missed entirely. So just to paint this picture even home further, about, again, this is through thousands of reports and analyses, about 10% of a demo represents about 40% to 50% of every buy. That's wild, right? Imagine you're a farmer and you dump 50% of your water supply on 10% of your crops. You just wouldn't do it, right? And so you could think of addressable as sort of your fancy irrigation system or technology that's going to help you spread your frequency across the full breadth of that demographic. Again, frequency controls, dynamic ad insertion, live TV. It's pretty simple, but it's groundbreaking when you think that this is a space ripe for opportunity. So what we can help do is we can actually suppress heavy viewers from a campaign. You can target the demo broadly, but in doing so, you're going to get a much more even frequency distribution across that. You're going to build reach in the process just through the technology doing its job. We can complement your national linear schedules, meaning if, like to say, I'm super heavy in ESPN, okay, well, we can bust that out. Or I don't want to be in news networks, things like that. Understand content is important in the equation. But again, I'm trying to plant this philosophy that we can use dynamic ad insertion to improve the biggest time spent area in media today from a video perspective. So from a case study perspective, like I said, CPG client, everybody has a mouth. I want to improve reach, surprise, surprise. So what we did, again, we suppressed heavy viewers, we targeted light medium viewers or missed viewers, used the technology to find them. We improved reach 25% against their campaign. And this is a heavy spending advertiser. Now, this is within our footprint, this is within DIRECTV. Again, we represent about 15% of the total TV distribution. So my story is that you can do this same sort of philosophy into the broader marketplace. We're not the one-stop shop, we're one stop amongst a few others. But again, I think that the concept is compelling, and it's a area I think it's ripe for innovation. Addressable TV, the money keeps growing, but we only represent about 6% of the overall TV video spend, right? So again, this is ripe for innovation. There's a lot more growth to go here. I think my time is probably coming to an end, but hopefully I left you with an analogy, hopefully I left you with a thought or a compelling concept to consider. And again, technology can lead us to some improved outcomes. We can limit exposure to heavy exposed households, which annoys consumers and drives inefficiencies. And hopefully we can find some smarter solutions together here. So thanks for your time, and I'll come find you with this driver ahead.
Tim, thanks, man. That was awesome. Great.